Wait, we had a Miata? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to M-Tech. Next to me today, we have a 1991 Mazda Miata. And you're probably wondering, wait, where's this car been? Or you're wondering, what's this car? Whatever the case may be, this is my roommate Akul's 1991 Mazda Miata. We made a reveal video slash paint correction with it last year. We were gonna do some things with it. We had some plans, a build plan, and then it kind of just fell off the face of the channel. So today we're gonna discuss what happens to the car, why is it now making a reappearance, and more importantly, where is the car going? Right, so I'm gonna switch to holding the phone now. Bottom line, plans changed. Car is getting listed for sale. Speaking of which, this car is getting listed on Cars and Bids. If you're from Cars and Bids and you like what you see on this channel, you should consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun with a lot of cars here. But to spare you all the long and lengthy explanation, long story short, this car was initially going to be, well, it was gonna be stock, and then it turned into a fun, like, oh, I'm gonna build into a street track car. And then the ultimate goal ended up being a turbo build, which is what Akul wants to do to this car, except he realized that he has the worst starting point for it. No power steering, no AC, which some people like, but as a 1.6, no LSD. And frankly, just has a bunch of things that Akul actually wants in a Miata. So the purpose of the video today is going to be a walk around this car, give you guys a better idea of what this car looks like cosmetically, because in my opinion, a video speaks 1,000 photos, although there will be plenty of photos on Cars and Bids. So the first thing I kind of want to show you guys is the paint quality of this car, which is really good. We did paint correct it last year, and I won't totally just palm it, but it is ultra slick. We paint corrected it, did a two-step correction, and threw the Turtle Wax Hybrid Solution ceramic coating on here, which for those of you who don't know, it's just like an over-the-counter ceramic coating. Nothing crazy, it lasts up to a year. The coating still has pretty good longevity. If you throw some water on there, it'll just bead up and pool right off it, which is really cool. And along with the paint, we think this car has been repainted. For one, I don't remember what the numbers were. I'd have to go look back at the paint correction video, but the paint was really thick, and this is stage 2 paint, which from both Akul and I's understanding, Miatas did not have from the factory. You can also come up here and see some kind of peeling. This is probably the worst spot paint-wise in the whole car, and it's still red under there. So we're almost sure this car has been repainted, and I tried to get photos of it or video. There's like small little dirt nibs in a couple of very specific spots, and it's just kind of a sign for me that shows the car has been repainted. Most people would consider that a negative. I actually consider it a positive, because whatever's on here now is probably better than whatever the factory stuff was. It has incredible depth and looks really good in my opinion. That said, there are a few spots like we showed you up there where the paint is not the greatest. This is probably the second worst spot. There's a little, I don't even know what this is, like a little scratch or something like that. And there's another smaller one over here. But I'm actually surprised at how straight this car is. Dent-wise, there's like almost none. There's not a lot of scrapes or scratches. It's another tiny one, but that's about it. I mean, paint-wise, other than a minor amount of swirling that we didn't get out with the correction, I mean, it's pretty close to how a new car would have come. I think the red really pops, especially in this kind of golden hour lighting. You get the real good depth that you really want to see out of a paint job. Although I will say that there is a little bit of compound left in a couple places. The worst one being right there. I don't know, we both tried to clean it out. Neither of us had the time to really mess with it. Outside of that though, cosmetically in the exterior, this thing is pretty close to as good as they come, especially with over 100,000 miles, although it's still not really that high. We come into the interior, and I love these door handles in the Miatas, like little, I don't know. I feel like they'd come on an old British car. Make a cool sound when you open them. But anyway, steering wheel, basically perfect. This is the, whatever they call it, like the plastic one, it's not leather. The cloth seats are in really nice shape. Other than a mild amount of staining over there, but I'm sure that would come out. Akul's on an internship in Philadelphia, otherwise he'd be here with me shooting this video. And I have my own full-time internship, so this car kind of has just been left to sit, which is so sad. It's such a nice car, but there are a couple of small things because of that haven't really been tidied up, such as that. And then honestly, in my opinion, the worst spot in the interior is probably this cruise control. This does not work. We don't really know how or when it was installed, probably sometime in the 90s. You can maybe get it to work, whatever the case may be. That's just hanging out there. You can play with it or you do whatever you want. Other parts of the interior, and this is probably the other worst part. This radio, it works, doesn't really sit in nicely, so we just leave it tucked away. But if you get past this, and you can get past the cruise control stock, the rest of the interior is like pretty close to how it would have been from the factory, other than a couple small like nicks and scuffs or whatnot from 30 years of use. I'll show you the other door cards, you can see them. Crank windows, which is always a nice touch. Both go up and down. And yeah, honestly, like the dash and everything, I mean, it's just a very classic 90s car era design. And then we will put some photos of the cover up. I'm not gonna do it right now just because it's losing daylight and I gotta finish this video before sun goes down. But the top works. I mean, it's a manual top. There's not really anything to break. It's in nice condition other than the rear glass, but you'll see for yourself in the photos. But overall, I mean, it's really nice. All the lights work and everything. Get a funny license plate on there. Pop the hood for all of you. Take a look under there. Engine bay is pretty clean. It is a little dusty just from sitting, but otherwise, I mean, the engine bay is pretty straight. Doesn't leak any oil, doesn't really leak any fluids. So this car was a like pseudo barn find. It's not super low mileage, 120K. Most of those miles were put on its first 10 years of life. So when Akul bought this thing, it had been sitting for a while, but we've been out and driving it the past 2 years that he's owned it, and it's been pretty stout otherwise. I mean, it's a Miata. Fortunately, there aren't too many things that really go wrong with these cars that are expensive anyway, unlike that car over there, which is a $2,000 bill waiting to happen at any moment. These, not as much. Which is honestly one of the cool things I think about these cars is like you can drive these almost guilt-free. There isn't a lot that can go wrong. But anyway, 2 cars and bidders. I think the photos I have should suffice, but there you go. Here's the engine bay. Of course, the pop-ups work. Go use those right now. That's the best part of any Miata ownership experience, and exactly why the NAs are worth as much as the NBs, even though they're worse in every way. That right there. I will have some more technical stuff and specs and whatever, and I'll give it to the cars and bid staff, and they can put it all in the ad. And I will also put some of my own comments in the description. But here she is. This is the Mazda Miata. Now I'm gonna go ahead and play a cold start clip after the car has been sitting for 2 months, and you guys can hear how this car kind of starts up and runs. So in that video, you will notice a chirping. That is a new sound that we've heard in this car since it has sat this past 2 months. Based on the noise and how it's behaving, we're gonna guess that it's a throwout bearing starting to kind of make some noise. The clutch is original, so 32 years old, go figure. But in full disclosure, that is probably the biggest mechanical fault with this car. It doesn't affect the operation, as you will see in the driving video, but we do wanna make sure you are all aware of it. It'll be kind of sad to see it go. I really like this car. It's my first experience with Miatas, and it's been a resoundingly good one. I considered buying it off of him, but I already have one 20-plus-year-old car to worry about, and I mean, I don't really need a convertible in my life right now, but to any of you that want a convertible in your life, I would buy this in full confidence, knowing it's a stout car you can drive home and drive thousands of miles and have a bunch of fun. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.